Okay, so we're gonna have class. Yeah. Do we have, we don't have a songbook here, do we? No. Because today is the commemoration of the disappearance days of two great personalities. So it's always important to chant the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas before page 91, before class. I'll speak briefly about them, and then basically after that, let me just send a notice out that I'm online. And then after that, we'll speak from the Bhagavatam. Hold on a second. Gotta let everybody know we're online. Got it. All right. So these are the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas. Jayanila Premadana Korana Pracho Hey no Prabhu Kota Gela Charya Thakur Kahamora Sarupa Kahasanata Katasaho Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kaha Morabata Yuga Kaha Kavira Ekakale Kotagela Goranatara Vashane Kutivo Mata Anale Vashibo Goranga Gonera Nidhe Kotakele Prabhu Sesava Sandira Sange Yekoilo Vila paya kande narotamo Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya also Tada Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Sabaya Chalananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Hey, Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadha Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopikapanath Sayam Kun Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Ki Jai Mithradam Ki Jai Jagadha Sami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shimali Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Budale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatate Shacharni. So I'll read the translation to this poem that Srila Prabhupada instructed us that we should chant when we're commemorating the disappearance days of great personalities. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where is such a personality as Srinivasa Acharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancers, suddenly go? I will smash my head against a rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. So today we are commemorating the disappearance days of these two great personalities. One personality, of course, is Raghunandana Thakur, and the other one is Vamsi Das Babaji. I'll mention a few words about each one of them before we go on to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Raghunandana Thakur is the son of Mukunda, who is a physician, and Raghunandana Thakur is famous for how he made the deities eat. What happened is that his father had to go away on some medical business sometime, and his father said, "You take care of the deities." And what happened is that he didn't know all the mantras or the mudras or anything like that, so all he could do is say, "Eat, eat," when he offered to the deity. And he started crying. Some people say he threatened the deity, but anyway, he was crying, and the deity got off the altar, Krishna got off the altar, and he ate. And then later on, when his father came back, he said, "Where's the Mahaprasadam?" And Raghunandana said, "Krishna ate all of it." And Mukunda said, the father, he said, "How's that possible? How could he eat all of it? You know, you You offer to the Lord with mantras. He eats with his eyes, Angani, Yashash, Ankalan, Driyadri, Tivanti. And Raghunandana said, just watch. So his father watched through the window as Raghunandana offered again to the deities. But the deity wasn't that hungry at that particular point, so he could only eat half of a ladu. And I believe that half ladu is still preserved today in this temple. And Raghunandana Thakur, he had a son named Kanai Thakur, who became a great devotee also, and they carried on this tradition of worshiping the deity there. And then just one other story about Raghunandana. One time, Lord Chaitanya asked Raghunandana Thakur's father, Mukunda, who is the father and who is the son? And Mukunda said, Raghunandana is my father, and I am his son. Now that's very interesting because externally, but because Mukunda more advanced than him, appreciated this. So that's the story of Raghunandana Thakur. And then we have Vamsidas Babaji, whose disappearance day it is today. And Vamsidas Babaji was quite an unusual devotee, to say the least. I mean, he would be traveling, worshiping his deities, and I'm not going to tell all the stories because some of them are a little controversial. But he would sometimes yell at his deities, and he wouldn't lock the temple up at all, and when something was stolen, he would blame the deities for it. He said, why aren't you just watching out for your own stuff? And then even when the pots for cooking for the deities were stolen, he said, I'm not going to cook for you now, because you arranged for your pots to be stolen. And then one pot was brought back, Lord Nityananda's pot, so he cooked for Lord Nityananda, not Lord Chaitanya. And then he said, look, you better bring your pot back too. And so Lord Chaitanya's pot came back and he cooked for Lord Chaitanya. And so he went to Vrindavan, traveled all over Vrindavan. He was a great devotee, but what we call an avaduta. Avaduta means like the wind. You know, someone doesn't really follow normal procedures. So no one should imitate him. And Shilawakti Saranta Saraswati Thakur, he very much appreciated Vamsidas Babaji. In fact, he would generally have food sent over from his ashram, from the Gaudiya Mas, to help Vamsidas Babaji. But generally, he instructed the devotees not to go there, because they wouldn't understand these transcendental pastimes of Vamsidas Babaji, and they would criticize Vamsidas Babaji. So therefore, he generally didn't let the devotees go there except to bring some things over, but he very much appreciated the devotion of Vamsidas Babaji. So we have some devotees in our Sampradaya who are real avadutas. And even the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form of Rishabhadev was acting as an avaduta. So it's described that one should not try to understand the mind of a great devotee. And of course we have that verse, Acharyamam Vijnanayam Navamanyeta Karichit Namarcha Vujasuyata Sarvadeva Mayo Guru, that no one should see the pure devotee to be like an ordinary person. And then there's the injunction, if one sees the pure devotee like an ordinary person, or sees the deity as being made of stone, then one is possessed of hellish intelligence. So one has to be very careful when dealing with Krishna's devotees. Nowadays, of course, you find on the internet everybody is very enthusiastic to criticize everybody else for whatever purposes they can criticize. Just to give an example, just like the other day I was posted some video interview with some doctors stating that people should take the vaccine, and then people commented about me, saying that, he's such a rascal for posting this video that they should take his picture, his disciples should reject him. It's crazy. People are crazy nowadays. They have a right to disagree, but not to criticize someone personally. Everyone has a right to their own opinion. If someone doesn't like vaccines, that's their own opinion. I'm not going to demonize them. I mean, everybody has the right to their opinion. But at the same time, we don't want to criticize people. That's called ad hominem attacks, personal attacks on people. If someone says something you don't agree with, okay, that's fine. But society has become degraded to the point that not everybody, but so many people are criticizing others. It's just very nasty. And you see this, it's even infected some aspects of our society, in the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Some devotees, they do this. Yes, you have a right to disagree, but you don't have a right to criticize a Vaishnava. Personally, you can say, I don't agree with you, I have a different philosophical understanding, but you can't say that you are in Maya, or you're a demon, or you're a Rakshasa, or you're a Western devotee, or you're a Bengali devotee. All this is just material, mundane. There's no such thing as Western devotee, Bengali devotee, and Chinese devotee. Haribol. There's no such thing. Devotee is a devotee. Anyway, so all right, so let's go on to the Bhagavatam. And we have two more verses under the responsibility. So I'll just read. Text 59 and 61 left in this chapter. And this chapter is describing Matsya, the Lord's fish incarnation. Very interesting. So, text 59. Satyavratasya rajasher maya matsyasya saranginaha samvadam mahada akyanam shrutva muchyeta kilvishat. So, I guess we could do the word by words. Satyavratasya of King Satyavrata, Rajarishahe of the great king, Maya Matsyasya and the fish incarnation, Sharanginaha, who had one horn on his head, Sangvadam, the description or dealings, Mahat Akyanam, the great story, Shrutva, by hearing, Mucheta is delivered, Kilbashat, from all sinful reactions. So translation, this story concerning the great king Satyavrata and the fish incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is a great transcendental narration. Anyone who hears it is delivered from the reactions of sinful life. So this, before going to the next one, so I just want to describe the category of this particular verse. It's called the Shruti Pala. And for those of you who don't know what Shruti Pala means, Shruti means hearing. Pala means fruit. So this is a general type of verse you'll find at the end of many chapters, not only of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but of the Puranas, and other Vedic literatures, which describes the benefit of hearing or chanting a particular story. And so this is something that really occurs. It's not something that's someone's imagination and that's some trick to get you. Hear the story and understand the story and glorify the Matsya Avatar or whatever chapter you're going to be reading when you read the Bhagavatam, then you get the benefit. There's so much benefit from reading Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing about the pastimes of the Lord. And of course it mentions here, anyone who hears it is delivered from the reactions of sinful life. So, also when you chant the Lord's holy names, you're delivered from the reactions of sinful life. Also when you take prasadam, you're delivered from reactions of sinful life. We're so fortunate. We have so many activities that deliver us from the reactions of sinful life. However, If we continue doing sinful things, it doesn't work anymore. That's the offense of committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting Hare Krishna. So you can think, I just want to be sinful and I'll read this chapter about Matsya every day. Doesn't work. God is not going to be cheated by you. So anyway, but this is a Shruti-pala. That's the technical definition of this particular type of verse. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita also you find all these sorts of benedictions at the ends of many of the chapters. Okay, and so we'll go on to, actually there's another one. Text 60 is also Shruti-pala. Avatara marer yoyam kirtayed anvaham naraha sankalpas tasya siddhyanti sayati paramangatim. It's interesting. Wow. It's interesting, that one word, yati. Anyway, I'll describe that. One who narrates this description of the Matsya incarnation of King Satyavrata will certainly have all of his ambitions fulfilled, and he will undoubtedly return home back to Godhead. Another Shruti-pala there. Certainly a powerful chapter. Anyway, so let's just read the last verse, and then we'll speak a little bit about the incarnations of the Lord. Pralaya payasi datu shupta kshater mukhevya shutiganam apanitam prayupadattahatva ditiyam akatyadyo brahma satchavratanam. So it's like Jai Jagadish Hari, practically. You can see where Jai Goswami got his melody. Tam akilahitum jimaminam natusmi. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who pretended to be a gigantic fish, who restored the Vedic literature to Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma awakened from sleep, and who explained the essence of Vedic literature to King Satyavrata and the great saintly persons. So purport, by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Here is a summary of Satyavrata's meeting with the fish incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu's purpose was to take back all the Vedic literatures from the demon Hayagriva and restore them to Lord Brahma. Incidentally, by his causeless mercy, the Lord spoke with Satyavrata. The word Satyavratanam is significant because it indicates that those on the level of Satyavrata can take knowledge from the Vedas delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever is spoken by the Supreme Lord is accepted as Veda. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Avedanta Krid Vedavid. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the compiler of all Vedic knowledge, and he knows the purport of the Vedas. Therefore, anyone who takes knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, or from Bhagavad Gita, as it is, knows the purpose of the Vedas. Vedaischa savayar ahmeva vedyaham. One cannot understand Vedic knowledge from the Vedavata Ratas, who read the Vedas and misconstrue their subject matter. One has to know the Vedas from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Much the Lord's Fish Incarnation. Center today, the 1st of September 1976, the day of Radhastami, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Acharyas. Srila Narottama Das Thakur says, Tandara Charana Sevi Bhaktav Sanavas, Janame Hoy E Avilash. I am attempting to present Srimad Bhagavatam in the English language by the order of my spiritual master, Sri Srimad Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and by his grace, the work of translation is gradually progressing, and the European and American devotees who have joined the Krishna consciousness movement are helping me considerably. Thus, we have expectations of finishing the great task before my passing away. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, end of And so, okay, so this particular chapter is about the fish incarnation of the Lord. And one interesting thing, and we were talking about this when we were in New Taliban, is that the Lord has incarnations in every species of life. Prabhupada mentions that. Every species of life. In his purport, Prabhupada says that. And that is quite amazing. You know, there's 8,400,000 species of life, and the Lord has more incarnations than there are species of life because he has combinations of species. What do I mean by that? Half man, half lion. Isn't it? Yeah. Or Hayagriva. You know, here Hayagriva is mentioned as a demon, but there's also an incarnation of the Lord known as Hayagriva incarnation. And so you have like combinations. And so many different incarnations. It's described in the Bhagavatam. They're like waves in the ocean. They come one after the other. In other words, it's a non-stage attempting to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he never comes to an end of the glorification of the Lord because the Lord's glorification or the Lord's glories or opulences increase unlimitedly at each instant. So there's no end to it, and they're unlimited, and Krishna's inconceivable. You know, we often use the word achincha. And I was talking about this in New Taliban, and none of you were there, so I could say some of the same things. Like if we think about this Macha avatar, Kurma avatar, all the 8,400,000, whatever avatars, incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we find the description in the Brahma Samhita, Dvaita, Chuta, Nadir, Ananta Rupa Madhyam, Purana Purasham, Navayovanam Cha, that they're all the same person. You know, the word Advaita, that means non-dual, basically. Dvaita means dual. Advaita means non-dual. Just like one time Dvaitacharya was accused of being Dvaita by Mother Sachi. Remember it? Because she was upset because Visvarupa had taken sannyas. But so Dvaita means like two-faced sometimes, isn't it? There's someone that's lying. You say you're Dvaita. That means you're lying. You're two-faced. You're deviant or whatever like that. So, but Advaita means like one. So Advaita, Krishna is one. All these various incarnations, just the same Jai. Radha Kanta Gauranitai, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai. Shinga Bhagavan Ki Jai. So all these various incarnations and appearances, which are all happening simultaneously. So, you know, here we're talking about Matsya Avatar. At a particular point, Matsya Avatar had his pastimes on this earth, or this in the universe. But in some other universe, or there's Krishna stealing the butter. In another universe, Krishna is being chased by Mother Yashoda. In another universe, the Kurma avatar is appearing. Think about it. I mean, because all these pastimes, like Prabhupada said, routine spool. Even if one avatar are occurring in multi-universes. All these is Nitya Leela, the eternal times. I mean, they're always going on. I mean, Prabhupada did say the non-human incarnations of the Lord are not in the spiritual world, which is actually interesting. Some people have a misunderstanding about that. But at least when the material world is manifest, when the Mahavishnu breathes out and all the material universes are manifest, all these incarnations are going on simultaneously. It means an unlimited number of incarnations, avatars, enacting their pastimes, and it's all the same person. Think about that for a second. If that doesn't cause you to have a mental breakdown, I don't know what will. It's all the same person. I cannot do two things at the same time. I cannot be in two places at the same time. if I want to go from here to India, I got to take a plane. It takes a few hours. So I cannot be in India and here simultaneously. But Krishna can be in unlimited places simultaneously doing different things, and he's the same person. There is no difference ultimately between Krishna, Balaram, Matsya, Kurma, Baraha, Mahavishnu. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Not only that, sometimes in the same place, you'll have 2 or 3 different avatars interacting with each other. Like Krishna's interacting with Balaram. Not only that, but Krishna's disagreeing with Balaram. Balaram wanted to get Subhadra married to Duryodhana. And Krishna has to go behind Balaram's back and make a trick so that Subhadra can be kidnapped by Arjuna, right? So here you have the same person tricking himself. I don't understand it. If you think you understand it, you're wrong. Like even Lord Brahma said, other people may say that they understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but I don't. Because it's inconceivable, it's unlimited. Or you have the Mahavishnu making a trick so that Krishna and Arjuna will come to see him. It's a story in the Krishna book. For those of you who read the Krishna book, or 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So you have these amazing amazing interactions between the Lord and his various expansions, or the same person at the same time. Or you have Lord Ram and Lakshman and Bharat, Shatrughna. And Lakshman is upset with Lord Ram because he's been told to send Sita Devi into the forest or put her into the fire. And Lakshman is getting ready to rebel against Lord Ram sometimes, but he doesn't because he's the younger brother. He follows etiquette, right? Lakshman follows the proper etiquette. Always follows Ram, even though he may disagree with Ram. But Balaram and Krishna have a different type of relationship. Krishna doesn't follow his elder brother. Does he? No. Like when there's so many instances. Like I mentioned, there's Subhadra being kidnapped by Arjuna. Krishna had to just convince Balaram not to kill Arjuna. And then in another instance, Krishna had Bhimsen hit Duryodhana below the belt with a club. He's very tricky. He didn't say do it. Krishna's a very tricky God. He didn't say hit him below the belt. He wouldn't. Because he didn't want to get too much trouble with Balaram. Balaram was watching the fight. And so he says, well, I can't say anything or Balaram will get upset with me. So Krishna goes like that. And then Bhimsen hits Duryodhana below the belt, breaks his thighs. Duryodhana is in complete anxiety. And then Balaram gets ready to kill Bhimsen. He pulls out and says, you want to fight with a club? Get ready, boy. And Krishna says, no, it's not a good idea. And he says, don't you remember what Duryodhana did to Draupadi? And then Balaram walks away completely frustrated at that point, upset with his brother. He's upset with Krishna. So he's the same person. The point I'm making is the same person. Can you imagine getting upset with yourself? I mean, it's like looking in the mirror and saying, I'm angry with you. But so these things are inconceivable. Plus, I mean, that's, of course, called ontology, the Lord's nature. And then you question, so why does Krishna do all these things? Why does Krishna come down as a fish? Why does Krishna interact with why does Ram interact with Lakshman and Bharata Shatrughna in this particular way? Why? And why does Lord Ram send Sita Devi away? And then which is the real answer that Krishna appeared as Matcha avatar is for enjoyment. Because, as Prabhupada describes, the protecting of religious principles or protecting of devotees, pritranaya, sadhunam vinashaya, chadushkratam, the annihilating of the miscreants, protecting the devotees and establishing religious principles, that can be done by Krishna's representatives or by Krishna's energies. Like Krishna showed Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita in the 11th chapter, Kalo Asmi, I'm time. Mitchu Sarva Chaham, I'm all devouring death. So Krishna doesn't have to personally come to save the Vedas or to save, King Satyavrat, who's on this boat and being pulled by Bhaksuki, What a cool pastime. I mean, Krishna doesn't do things in just like ordinary, boring ways, does he? He's, saving the Vedas and King Satyavrat. I mean, imagine a fish pulling a boat with a snake. Naga. That's actually Naga, not technically a snake. But anyway, Krishna is in such incredible ways. So the real reason Krishna does these things is for his own enjoyment to taste rasa. Just like sometimes we like to go swimming. Do you swim?
Yeah.
It's good.
I live in Ganges.
Sometimes people in India don't swim.
Yeah.
Because
they're in the city. Those are living in the city.
Because they're in anxiety. Their mother had a dream they would drown. So they won't teach their children how to swim. It happens. Yeah, I've seen that. And that's why they do drown, because they never got taught how to swim.
Yeah.
Which is kind of stupid. But anyway, so just like you like to go swimming, or just like when I was young, I got a scuba tank. You know what scuba is? No, you don't know what scuba is. It's where you put a tank on your back and you put a little mouthpiece.
Yeah.
And you go under the water.
In
the water, you have like a mask on, and you can go under water for maybe half an hour or something like that. Yeah, I was expert. I would go into water and play with the fish and everything like that, see the fish. So that, that was enjoyment. It was a lot of enjoyment. So, but we shouldn't think that Krishna doesn't want to do the same thing. So when Krishna wants to do it, he takes a fish body.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a big tank on his back. He doesn't need a mask. You understand? Just like people, see the things nowadays, like surfing or swimming.
They depend on something.
Yeah. Or all these different things, or anyway, skiing or something. Those desires are originally there in Krishna. There's a ras. And of course the rasa is an exchange with the devotees, basically. So Krishna is called Rasa Raj. He's the king of all rasas. He's enjoying ras. So he appears as the Matcha avatar to enjoy that. He doesn't have to. He wants to enjoy doing these fun things. Isn't it? Like children, sometimes they play the part of animals. Right? A dog or a cat or whatever. So Krishna is eternally youthful. Navayovanam cha. Isn't it? Same thing. Navayovanam cha. Vedeshu durlabhama durlabhama atmavakta govindamadi purisham tamaham. Krishna is eternally young. So we hear Navayovanam cha doesn't mean simply he has a youthful body, spiritual body, Satchidananda Vigraha, but his mentality is always young. Right? Like when one has a youthful mentality, then one is very playful. Like you hear, Krishna has these qualities, Dira Datta, Dira Lalita, Dira Prashanta, Dira Dota, the different qualities he's playing. Dira Datta, Dira Lalita, Dira Prashanta. He's playful, he's serious, he's angry, he teases, like that. He's proud. Yeah, he's proud.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that's true. Well, Krishna wants to, and he has all these like qualities, some of which appear to be contradictory, and he's enjoying himself by taking this matcha avatar, or taking the Nrsinga Bhagavan avatar. He had his devotees come down to act as demons so he could enjoy in that way, right? Jai and Vijay. So Krishna's enjoying. That's it. And then also another important reason for Krishna taking these particular incarnations is to attract us. So we okay. Hold on a second. We just I just have to do this again so that okay. So sorry for the delay. So you can have a wife. You can, of course, you shouldn't have a girlfriend, but you can go swimming. You can go scuba diving. You can go surfing. What else can you do?
playing.
You can go to Disney World, right? But you want to deny God all these pleasures? I mean, that's atheism. So anyway, so I just becoming how great. No quality. As all the prayers also describing the qualities of the Supreme. It just makes it so interesting. How can Vaimana Krishna Padaravindayo? How can you remember Krishna if you don't have these qualities and these pastimes in us? And he's ever youthful in his mentality. Otherwise, I don't know. Can be done by Krishna's first class servants of Krishna. All right, so any questions or comments? Yes.
In the scripture, that different time Lord appears in the different incarnation.
Yeah.
But there is some purpose, like some significant. But sometimes by His will, He can take incarnation, also devotee sometimes praying Him, and
Yeah.
so is it both or just only His will?
Well, first of all, let me just First of all, there's no difference between the will of the devotees and the will of Krishna. The devotees want Krishna to do something by the devotees, and the devotees are controlled by Krishna. What is that? Verse right now. Sadhava hridayam mayam sadhanam hridayam tvaham maranyate na janati naham te vyomanagapi. Krishna says, I am in the hearts of the saints, and the saints are in my heart. And because they do not know anything other than that, me, Krishna, as theirs,
save all the seeds.
yeah. Yeah, it's a wonderful pastime. The fish.
How long he actually, Manu was there with the Matsya and
Yeah.
when the artist totally covered the.
Yeah.
How long?
That's the story of Noah.
Is it one month? Is it 1 month? How?
What?
Is it for how long?
I don't remember how long. Maybe someone remembers.
Yeah, it's not.
It was like a kalpa or something like. It was a long period of time. Do you remember?
There's two Bhajans or appearances during Svayambhu Manu and again Justice.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 times he appeared. Anyway, whatever, it was a long time, and I guess that's how they get the Bible story of Noah from there.
No,
And that's my guess. Okay, I think we should end. Big attendance today in class.
No, I was busy for other things to do, so.
Yeah, I guess when we have evening programs, that's when everybody wakes up. So